Welcome to the Successful Home Inspector Podcast, where we discuss everything you need to know about home inspection from A to Z. Brought to you by Preston Sandlin and Home Inspection Carolina. We're here to share some success stories and some not so successful stories. Some things we can all learn from, and maybe, just maybe, we can help each other and raise the profession. So sit back, turn up the volume, and enjoy. Now, here's your host of the Successful Home Inspector Podcast, Preston Sandlin.
Guys, let's face it, Yellow Pages are dead. The old days of calling your company AAA Home Inspection and expecting to get calls from that by being number one on the Yellow Pages don't work anymore. Today, you got to be number one on the search engines. That's Google, Yahoo, Bing, or a couple of others. Billy Borner from St. Louis knows how to do this. He has been number one for quite some time, and it brings him thousands of dollars each month. I've talked to Billy, and he's decided to make this available for you. SEO Secrets. And he normally charges $49 for this instructional video, but for our listeners, we've worked out a deal where it's $39.95. For $39.95, you can bring thousands of dollars to your company each month as well. Go to the homepage, thesuccessfulhomeinspector.com, and look on the tab SEO Secrets. Click on that and go to Billy's link.
All right, listeners and home inspectors, which are primarily the listeners, I imagine, we have a special treat for you today. We have Joe Mishak from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I've talked to Joe. We texted several times. He's a really innovative guy. He's got multiple inspectors. So, Joe, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Are you getting the heat in Indiana? Like we've had this, is like our 7th or 8th day of 95. Are y'all getting that heat wave there as well, or how's the weather there?
It's pretty warm, but we're having a lot of rain, lots and lots of rain. We've had probably 5 to 6 inches of rain in the past couple of days, so we got a lot of flooding going on. But yeah, warm is good, and no snow, so I'm all good with that.
I hear you. I wish you'd send some of that rain here, man. My grass is dying. Well, Joe, tell us a little bit more about you, because we'd like to get to know you personally.
Ure. Well, I'm 35 years old. I've been married to my wife, Danielle, for 10 years. We've been together for about 17 years. And we have 3 children. I have a son, Jojo. He's 13. I have a daughter, Mackenzie. She's 9. Another daughter, Aubrey, and she's 6. So they keep me hopping.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. I got a 14 and 11-year-old daughter myself. Did you say your son's the oldest? Is that correct?
Yep, he's 13, and he's actually away at wrestling camp right now. We got to go pick him up tomorrow. So.
Oh, cool. Well, you know what his job is, right? It's to take care of the other 2.
That's right. He knows that, too.
When they get a little older, make sure they don't, the boys give them a hard time or anything. I'm trying to convince my 2 girls boys have cooties till you're 30.
Yeah, I just had to tell my son to watch out for the girls. I don't have to worry about that.
I hear you. Well, Joe, not too many of us grew up wanting to be a home inspector. I didn't even know what that was when I was a kid. How'd you get into home inspection, and what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I was looking for a job out of high school, and I answered an ad in the paper for a pest control technician. And so I went on to work for a company. It was a pest control company, and the company was doing a lot of the same things that the home inspectors were doing at that time and getting paid a lot less. Termite inspection, structural inspection. So we kind of grew into a home inspection company, and I worked in the South Bend area doing inspections there and kind of got as high as I could get in my position there. So I moved to Fort Wayne and opened a new company here, new branch, and so it's going really well. So definitely didn't really want to be a home inspector. Didn't even know what it was growing up. I wanted to be an airline mechanic. That's what I always wanted to be. So.
Oh, cool. I knew a bunch of those growing up. I grew up in Kernersville, in Winston-Salem area, and Piedmont Airlines that later merged. It became US Air, but there was a bunch of those guys there. So you you came the pest control route, which ironically is the same route that I came. Actually, did you do termite treatments or did you do ants, roaches? That's
yeah. I did it all. Yeah, I was out there drilling holes in basements, pumping chemical, treating roaches. So at that time we did live animal trapping, so we were trapping raccoons and skunks, and I've kind of done it all.
Oh wow, the termite treatment is hard work, isn't it? You do the trenching and the rod and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's not the glorious job, that's for sure. You're out there in that heat, and even in sometimes snow, trenching, rodding, backfilling, and it's hard work. It's come a long way since the days when I started. We used to have to pull carpet in basements and drill out floors and pump chemical, and now it's primarily outside only. So it's gotten better, but yes, that is some tough work.
Yeah, I did several years of termite work, and I still have a termite rig in case we miss something or something. But oh my gosh, man, I don't want to do it if I don't have to. Did you guys use? Were y'all using Dursban, or were you around when Termidor came out, or what?
Termidor, yeah, we used Dursban, but primarily Termidor was our main thing. It's pretty much what we've always used. And pre-treats, that's changed over the years as well. We're still a pest control company, so we still do a lot of that stuff as well.
Okay, love Termidor, but boy, man, the price has gone up on that, hasn't it?
Yeah, the prices on a lot of that stuff has gone up, as well as the label's gotten stricter as well. So you really have to watch and make sure you're pumping the right amounts and where you can pump it and all of that fun stuff.
Cool. Well, Joe, tell me, how long have you been doing inspections, and what's some of the changes you've seen?
Well, I've been doing inspections for about 16 years, and without a doubt, technology is probably the biggest thing.
Right.
15, 16 years ago, we were just on the cusp of digital cameras, and we were using the big Sony Movicas with discs, and that was pretty high tech then. Guys weren't doing digital reports with pictures.
I still got a few of those with the 3.5 floppy, and you can hear it spinning around in that sand and dirt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so now we got thermal imaging cameras. We can kind of see through walls, and a lot of technology as far as we use tablets and laptops. And so technology is by far probably the most advanced thing that we see, or I've seen over the last several years.
Well, cool. Well, Joe, I'm going to combine these two questions. How many inspectors do you have, and what was it like hiring that first one? Because I know a lot of guys out there struggle with that.
Sure. Well, if I include myself, we have 7 inspectors right now. I don't do too many anymore. I do mostly marketing and managing. But when something arises and we have to get something in quickly, or someone's sick, then I'll hop in and wear that hat. But so primarily we have 6. As far as how hard was it to hire the person? It was very difficult. It's kind of a leap you just have to take. And you always say, hey, are we busy enough? Can we support them? But the other thing that you have to look at, too, is you can't be out there marketing, promising to get to things in a timely manner when you're not getting to things in a timely manner. So for me, when it worked out the best was to hire someone to help me out at inspections, and they learned why they helped me out, and that freed my time to use the cell phone and everything, because at that time, we were still manning from a cell phone. We didn't have an office. So really became an assistant and then a home inspector. And so the whole time they were assisting, they were training. So it worked out well to do it that way.
Well, cool. Well, you kind of answered this question, but there's probably a couple little things you want to add. Do you have a training process for your inspectors? And I know they all come in at different levels of, experience and whatnot and computer skills. But tell us about that. How do you, if you interview a guy and you take him on, what's the training? And it's Aardvark Inspections? Is that the name of your company?
Yeah, Aardvark Home Inspectors, yep. Training is difficult. Like you said, it depends on the person. I've had guys that didn't know a lot about construction, but were just great people person, great with people, great with computers, and you can train them, people I've found, as long as they're willing to learn to do anything. So really depends on where they need the most work. But the thing that I've found to work best is doing actual inspections, going out every day, doing home inspections, and training them that way, letting them ride with a different guy every single day.
Right.
And so they can see their routine, how they do it, and pick up their own skill set and decide how they want to do it with the opportunities and stuff that we've given them.
Absolutely. And I always tell them, I said, your first ride along, I want you to be a fly on the wall, observing everybody else. And I like them to ride with different guys. But by the last inspection, I want the other inspector to be the fly on the wall watching you. So
right, exactly, yeah. And once we get close, and we're about done, that's when I step in and I start going on the inspections with them and making sure they're ready to be on their own.
Sure. Well, Joe, I'm going to switch gears here just a little bit, try to mix it up a little bit. Do you have a success quote you'd like to share with us?
That changes from time to time, but I think the best one that it all goes back to is treat others as you would like to be treated. And, right. That's if you follow that guideline in every day of your life, then the business will come along and you'll do well at that. Not every job are you going to make $1 million or some jobs you may not make any, but if it's the right thing to do and treat others the way you would want to be treated. So I kind of live by that quote. Absolutely.
I tell my guys kind of a version of that too. I'm always thinking, put yourself in that person's shoes. What would make you feel good? Or what would, and if the complaint comes in or something, I'm like, so if you were on the other end of this, what would make you feel, or how would what you said make you feel, especially if they kind of, I don't agree with the way they handled something, that sort of thing. Well, Joe, let's say that I'm a buyer or a real estate agent in Fort Wayne or South Bend, I think you serve.
Yep.
There are lots of other home inspectors in your market. Why should I hire you? Is there something about Aardvark Home Inspection Services that they do that others don't?
Sure. Well, first and foremost is you get me. And I know that sounds funny, but, there's not a real estate agent in our market that we don't service that does not have my cell phone number. And trust me, they use it, and I'm okay with that. If they say, hey, we need you there tomorrow, we'll figure out a way to be there tomorrow. If they say, my buyer's short on money, can we pay at closing? Well, we don't like that, but, if you're a good client, we'll do that. Or, hey, this is a disabled veteran, can we give him 50% off? And we say, yeah. And, and beyond that, going from a single inspector to a multi-inspector firm, if you call, and there's nothing wrong with a single inspector firm, I want to stress that, but, when you call a single inspector firm, he's on a roof. He can't get you that invoice you need right now. Or he's in a crawl space, he can't schedule your home inspection, or he can't get to things very quickly. We have 3 full-time secretaries that can get you an invoice within a matter of 5 minutes. You can schedule inspections anytime you want, online, on Facebook, via the mobile app. There's a lot of things that go along with it. And the other thing is, it goes back to that quote again. We treat others as, we want to be treated. So, when a problem arises, that's when we look good. Something happened, let's make it right. What's it going to take to fix it, make you look good as an agent, make me look good as an inspector?
Right. No, I'm totally with you. And I have that app too. I love it. And you were right about there's nothing wrong with being a single man. I was a single man. There's days I think I wish I was a single man operator.
You and me both.
But there's I listened to somebody one time says that you always market to what you are and against what you aren't. And, obviously your marketing is just like what you said. And I do the same where, we can get you in. We have multiple inspectors. They live in different areas. We can cover, we can always work it in. And a single person couldn't do that. Now, if a single person was marketing, they could say some things that we can't do, like you always get the owner of the company, things along that line. So, there's advantages, you market to what your strengths are, and there's advantages.
Oh, I agree there.
There's advantages to both. And I like being able to go somewhere, and I'm sure you do, and my business still run without me. But then there's sometimes I'm like, my inspector said what? Why did you say that? I'm like,
yep.
Oh.
Yeah, gosh,
sure.
I agree with you 100% there. I understand that, and I was once a single, inspector, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, and certainly I love the aspect that you said. I can leave for a week, and we're still doing business. Doesn't matter if I'm gone.
Right. And if you, and I'm sure you've started to experience this. If you guys have been with you a long time, you get to know these guys. They know you. I mean, you get where you have a high level of trust with your guys. And I mean, quite honestly, I got some guys working for me who are probably better inspectors than me now. But, in fact,
we have one that has an engineering degree, and I'll be honest, sometimes I'll call him and I'll say, hey, one of the other guys came across this. What do we got here? And he'll say, hey, this is what we got. This is what we're doing. This is what needs to be done. I say, hey, that's great. We all, and that's the other thing that I market too is, they want your most experienced guy. Well, most experienced in what? I have a guy that used to be a plumber, I have a guy that used to own an HVAC company, a guy that has an engineering degree, and that's the other thing that we plug is we fall upon each other's strengths. So when we have a question, there's 7 of us. One of us knows a lot more about a certain thing than another one does, but we can all pull upon each other's, knowledge to help figure out what we're trying to tell the customer and what looks right and what looks wrong.
That's excellent. That's an excellent answer. And I know you probably get this, well, who's your best inspector? And I like what you said. I also say, I said, well, I think they're all good, but there's different personality types. And I bet your buyers have different personality types now, don't they?
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about your buyer, and I can match you up. I got the guy that, I's dotted, T's crossed, that, that'd be good for an accountant or an engineer. And I got the good old country boy guy. I got him too. So, it works out. Well,
I had a guy call my office today, and he said, I want the guy with the most experience, who's been doing it the longest. And I said, I can appreciate that, but think of it this way. You're buying a house. When you're going to get on an airplane, do you go interview that pilot and say, how many times have you flown this airplane? Oh, this is only your 3rd time? Then I want a new pilot.
Right.
And you gotta put some trust in the people that put them in that position and, and the reputation that you have. So.
Yeah, no, that's a good that's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. Well, my grandfather's been driving a car for 60 years, but I'm not sure he should be driving it anymore.
That's an even better one. I have to remember that.
He's a little overexperienced at this point, to where some of his reaction time's a little slower than it used to be. Well, Joe, I'm gonna combine these 2 questions. Tell us something people don't know about you, and what do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, honestly, if you know me, there's probably not much that people don't know about me. I'm pretty much an open book. I mean, I don't hold anything back. People and agents that I do a lot of work with, aren't clients. They're good friends of mine, and that's kind of how I built the business as well. So, honestly, I don't know too many things that people wouldn't know about me because I'm pretty much wide open. As far as, what I like to do in my spare time is I really like to spend time with family. We have a boat. Kids like to go tubing, and we have a pool, and kids like to swim, and we like to go camping. And so I spend a lot of time working, and even when I'm at home, much like you, like we are right now working. But when there comes a time where I have some off time, I just kind of want to spend time with family, instead of going out and leaving them home alone. I'd rather go do something with them.
Sure. No, I'm the same way. Work hard, play hard. And play hard, it always includes the family, always. Well, Joe, you know as well as I do that if you do enough home inspections, you're going to have an unhappy camper. How do you handle an unhappy camper? Do you have a process, and what's that look like?
Sure, that happens, and agents call, and I say, hey, listen, and they kind of beat around the bush. I'm like, just give it to me. What do we have? And don't feel bad if you're not getting
I'm sorry to say,
some complaints, then you're not doing any volume because you're gonna have it.
Mine don't beat around the bush. They let me have it right off the bat. Go ahead.
So, first and foremost, we have an entire system, and sometimes it's a pain and people complain about it, but it's the way that it is for a reason. So, when someone calls in, we say, okay, did you file a claim? Because we use 90-day warranties. And if they say no, we say file a claim. If they say, okay, they call, we filed a claim, it's not covered. I say, okay, well, we'll email you our complaint form. You need to fill out the complaint form in its entirety and then also attach the denial from the 90-day warranty claim. And then in the complaint form, there says, hey, what's the complaint about? What were the conditions? Was the home occupied? Then it says you need to attach the relevant pieces of information from the home inspection that, shows it was not there. And honestly, it's a real pain in the butt. And the reason it's a real pain in the butt is it weeds out a lot of people who don't have legitimate claims.
Sure.
So once we get to that point and it hits my desk, then I look at it, I go out, take a look at what's going on, and if it's a legitimate claim, we fix it. There's no questions asked, and that's just the way it's always been. Now, you're always going to have the one that's not a legitimate claim, or it's not really broken, but if you go out and it's a rotted out window and it's been that way, we take care of it. Write a check and we get it fixed and save your name and make yourself look good, because that stuff just happens and it's a part of life, and it's how you handle it, which dictates whether you grow or stay stagnant, and it's your reputation at the end of the day.
Sure. No, I'm totally with you. Well, Joe, we're going to get to some highs and lows, but first, let's take a pause for our sponsors.
Are you struggling to make your home inspection business grow? Well, have I got the answer for you. HomeInspectionFlyers.com. At HomeInspectionFlyers.com, you get 5 flyers a month. There are 3 sales flyers and 2 recipe flyers. And you can customize them to exactly what you want. And these make great flyers when you go to the offices to put in their boxes, especially if you're doing like candy bowls or something along that nature. Like I said, it's 5 flyers a month for $29.99, and they're very creative. And you just put in your information. They come as a publisher file, and you just put in your information, and then you send them off to get printed. You can send them off online, and you can get color copies for less than 10 cents a copy. It's a great way to go. I went from being a 1-man home inspection firm to a 7-man home inspection firm on this one strategy alone. So try it today. HomeInspectionFlyers.com. Thanks.
All right. Well, I am here with Joe Mishak from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Joe, we're going to go down a little bit here, but then come back up, I promise. Tell us about a time when you failed. Take us there, and what did you learn from it?
Well, gosh, the one that comes to mind offhand was when I first came to the Fort Wayne area. I spent a lot of time and a lot of money to market to title companies, and I mean weeks and weeks. And I went out and I marketed and I marketed and I marketed, and I was just getting nowhere with it, nowhere. And I was spending money. Finally, one day, I mean, they were very nice to me, but I wasn't getting any orders out of it. And then finally, one day, someone said, "Why are you trying to market to title companies for home inspection?" And I said, "Well, in South Bend, title company orders all the home inspections."
Right.
And she just laughed, and she said, "Well, that's not the way it is here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. The title company doesn't order any home inspection." So after I had spent a good solid month, just trying to beat that bush because I thought that's where I needed to be, I learned that was not at all where I needed to be.
I hear you. Well, that's weird. Yeah, it's the realtors here that order it too. Sometimes
in my market it is as well, but in South Bend, title company orders all the home inspections.
Wow. That's cool. Well, that's different. It's funny now here. After all the loan fraud stuff, used to the realtor picked out or the bank could pick out the appraisal. Now it's like you're assigned one. Random assignment, and the problem is, you may get an appraiser from an area that doesn't know your market. You know what I mean? So,
ours is the same way. It's now a lottery or a draw pool.
Yeah, sure. I hope they don't do that home inspection.
Yeah,
that would be awful.
Well, the difference is though is home inspections are mandatory, and I think that's where they would have trouble with that, where your appraisal is.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and then the appraisal, you're always running into danger when you're messing with federal money because all those loans are federally insured. So that's when, I know I'm going off script here for a second, but we had a big thing here. It was like 90-some people went to jail. About a third of them were realtors, a third of them builders, and a third of them people who were involved in it where they were doing loan fraud. They were like borrowing more. I don't know exactly how it worked. They called it wax. I live here in Waxhaw, and it was called the Wax House case. You can Google it, but somehow they were all in it together, and they were borrowing more. It was on luxury homes, borrowing more than it was worth, but then paying somebody back. And I don't know, but when you mess with the Fed's money, I heard the guys came in the blacked out SUVs and sunglasses and started going through files, and I expected a few of them, but I didn't know anything about what was going on. I don't even know what the price of it is, so I didn't. Yeah. I'm still here.
Yes.
I know some people who went to jail. Well, on the other end of the spectrum, Joe, tell us about I had this as an I made it moment, but I don't like that. How about I've come a long way moment? Have you had one of those?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I honestly I feel like I have them every day. All the way from spending all that time, which at that time I thought was worthless marketing to title companies, turned out to be a great thing. Now all these people at the title company know my name, and they still know who I am. So while that time I spent doing that seemed so worthless, meaningless, and a waste of time, it really wasn't, because now all these title companies know me, and they know my company, and they know we do good work, and they hear our name all the time. And instead of just hearing our name, they know us. They know who I am. And so when they go to buy houses and they go to, refinance and do all these things, that's the company that they use, is the company who came to them and marketed to them and brought them donuts and talked to them. And so once that finally wrapped around and came back and kind of paid itself back, it was kind of an aha moment. It felt good to know that it was worthwhile.
Wow, that's awesome. I might need to invest a little time with our title companies. I've never marketed them. I've tried to market mortgage brokers a little bit. I do that
as well.
Yeah, I like to take all the closing offices pins and things. When they go in there and everybody signs the papers, I want them to be those orange pins. But I might do some research on that. Thank you for the heads up. Well, Joe, do you have a favorite book that you could recommend to our listeners? So what is it about the book that appeals to you?
Honestly, I don't get a lot of time to read books. I'm more of a news buff. I like to follow up on statistics for housing in my area, how many houses sold, what markets are near me, what houses are selling there, what companies are there, the size of them. And so if I'm not doing that, I'm usually outside or watching some sort of news channel. I really like to follow up on news in my area and in other areas as well. So
sure. No, and that's good information to know. Well, Joe, we talked about how you've seen the inspection business change. If you had a crystal ball, what would you predict would change in the future of our industry?
Well, I think pre-listing inspections are really going to evolve, and we've kind of seen that start to come around in our area. There's several good, I hate to say good because they're all good in my eyes, several large, busy realtors who are really pushing the pre-listing inspection and telling the sellers, listen, these houses sell faster. A lot of times they accept the inspection as it is, and you're going to have fewer problems, and, it just kind of streamlines everything. So I really think that's going to really take off in the future, and we're going to be inspecting a lot more of these homes before they ever even hit the market.
I agree. I concur. Well, I know the answer to this before I ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you ever been thrown under the bus by a contractor? I know I have. How do you handle it?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Do you have any ideas of, I don't think it can ever be prevented, but at least controlled. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, that is one of my pet peeves. I don't do that to anybody because nobody understands the conditions the day of the inspection and what was there and the items that were in the house, or understands everything as a whole as you did when you did that inspection. So, I just tell them, there's a proper way to handle things, and that wasn't it. I would never throw you under the bus. And, we're in a lot of homes, and we work with a lot of people, and we don't treat people that way. We would expect you not to. And, we like to throw out contractors' names. We never recommend one person, but we would never recommend a person who's willing to just save face and throw somebody else under the book when they don't really know, all the answers, and just took the scapegoat easier out to make themselves look good.
Right. Joe, I'm sorry, I'm such a talker, man. I get off script. I actually spoke to a group of I was invited to come speak to a group of contractors last night. That was the first for me. Usually I'm speaking to realtors or something like that, and actually wore my crazy pants. I don't know, because all my jokes were about my pants. So I was like, I don't wear these. I got no jokes. But it's funny. It wound up being good. The guy who's kind of the leader of that group, I'm friends with him, and he told me ahead of time that a lot of these guys don't like home inspectors. And it's kind of like, really? It seems like they should love us, man. They could get a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
So I think I turned an adversarial relationship around because, that was sort of my process was I'd like to get a group of contractors that I could recommend and that we can work together to do the right thing by the client and not throw each other under the bus and, understand where each of us is coming from. And that's kind of where I'm headed with that. And I'm hoping that it's kind of this group I'm actually going to join. But, it was just weird that in the beginning they don't like home inspectors. And I'm going back to your golden rule or putting myself in their shoes, I guess they've had run-ins with them in the past and just didn't like them or something. I don't know. But a lot of contractors don't like home inspectors for whatever reason. It seems like they should love them.
Well, in my area, the ones that I've found that don't like them are ones that they have done work on houses, and the inspector comes in and says, this is not quite up to par. And unfortunately, what I think that is they didn't do the best work they could that day. Yeah. And it's now made itself, available for everyone to see. And now they're trying to find a reason to throw another inspector or the same inspector under the bus for a different reason because they're not happy about the way something else went.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense. Well, Joe, another thing that bothers me is I don't know if you have these in your – well, I know you do. They're everywhere. Mold comes to mind, some HVAC guys. What I'm getting at is the contractor who's not really interested in repairing anything. I'll say they're mold salesmen or HVAC salesmen, like the guy who goes out when the system could be repaired, but they make a lot more money if they sell them a new system. Where I'm going with this.
Yes, I do.
And the mold guys who, just the fact that they've been called out, I got a live one, I'm going to go sell a $12,000 mold remediation, whether they need it or not. I know I'm probably pissing some people off who are listening to this, but, if you're making a living by scare tactics, you need to make a living doing something else. That's wrong. I don't like anybody who uses fear, in their entrepreneurial endeavors. And especially, a lot of times when somebody's trying to use fear, it's not, I don't know, I'm sort of going off script, but what do you think about, I don't know really what I'm asking, but do you have those guys that, try to sell everybody a mold remediation or HVAC system that don't need, that could be repaired? And what are you feeling about that?
Well, and that happens probably more with like roofs in our area, where, somebody bought a house. They knew they didn't buy a house with a brand new roof, but they needed some repairs. And they call a roofer, and the roofer says, oh, my God, I can't believe you're going to buy this house with the roof the way that is. It needs to be ripped off. And realistically, what it needs is a few new shingles, a couple of roof boots, and it's got a good 7 years on it. And it's unfortunate that they push it that way, because if they approached it in a different way and said, hey, it's not that bad. Here's what we're going to do for you. These repairs are minor, but I'm going to call you in 5 years if that's okay, or here's my card. Don't forget about me. We took care of you, and approach the business in a different manner. And another big one in our areas is chimneys. We go in and we say, hey, fireplace works well. This is good. This is good. That's a very easy scare tactic to say, oh, my gosh, I can't believe he told you it was good. You use that, your whole house is going to burn down. You need this, and you need this. And, of course, they're going to say, oh, my gosh, I do need that. They talk them into it. Then before long, the customer convinced themselves that they need it.
Yeah, once it gets in their mind, the fear just starts to eat them up.
Yep.
There was a special, I've got it actually on the website for the Successful Home Inspector, .com, which this interview will be on. But I had the nightly news, the mold scam, where they put like lipstick or mascara. I'm sorry, like black.
Oh,
mascara.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that.
And all these people that were, there were a couple that were legit. Well, I need to find the one. I actually saw the one years ago in the chimneys. They had a perfectly good chimney, and it was undercover or whatever, hidden camera. Perfectly good chimney, and they had 12 different guys come in, these chimney companies. And do you know that 10 of the 12 did exactly what you just said, tried to scare them, said the liner was blah, 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 the house good. It was a perfectly good, two of the 12 said it was fine, and it was fine. And, man, that's just how do people live with themselves? You know what I mean? I don't.
And that's why we try to, again, to go back on the contractor thing, use this as a resource. We deal with these people every single day. We know who the honest people are, who's going to tell you what needs to be done without trying to sell you something you don't need. we're not trying to push one person over on the other, but we know who's been around and who does good work and who doesn't recommend things that don't need to be done. And there's no way you can get to know all that unless you've just been around a while and dealt with them all and talk to the agents who've dealt with them all. And so we like to be that resource for those type of people as well and say, hey, these 3 people do great work. We know they're not going to tell you you need something you don't. If you want, we'll give you their phone numbers. And they're not us. We're not endorsing their business. We just know that they're honest people that do good work. So.
Sure. And, my new recommendation, I'm just doing it myself, is exactly what you said. I'm going to join a contractors association, so that I can get to know a lot of these guys better and know who the ones that, so as soon as something like that comes in, I'm like, who's telling you this? Who's telling you this? And
Yep.
Let me send another guy out there who does the same type of work I know this guy.
Right. Yep.
I think that might help. Well, one more kind of negative thing, and I promise we'll get happy after that. But, home inspector forums, they're a great source where people can share their knowledge. And there's a lot of people on there, that, and, you alluded to it, like among your guys. You got, one guy's an engineer, I've got guys who are contracting. You came from the pest control. Everybody has strengths, and it's great when you can put something up there, I'm sure your guys email you all the time, like, hey, what's this damage? Bugs. They text me, that's old house boards, whatever. But, the forum is kind of a way to do it across the country, and when it works right, it's great. It's great. Unfortunately, though, sometimes I'm sure you've seen it. You get some chest thumping and some ego thumping, and people just get downright ugly, and it just makes the profession look bad. Do you have any ideas on what we could do to raise the standards or make our profession look better on those things?
I see that, and I try to honestly stay away from forums for that reason, just because I don't quite understand the thinking behind the negativity there. You join the forum to learn more and talk to inspectors, and I'll be the first one to tell you I don't know everything, and I learn new stuff all the time. And the minute you think you know it all, then you don't, and you look stupid, and you're not learning. And so, that's a good question. And the other thing that really bugs me is when another inspector will talk bad about another inspector. Yeah. In my eyes, it just makes you look bad. We're all in the same profession. We need to, clean it up and help one another. That's when we will progress and become kind of like the HVAC industry, where our pricing needs to be similar, and we may offer different services and different warranties, but, at the end of the day, we're all on a level playing field and should be getting along. And I have no problem with inspectors in my area calling me and saying, hey, what's going on with this, or what do you think about this? And now, obviously, we all have our secrets for marketing and things that we do, but at the end of the day, we're all in the same profession, and I think it makes us look better as a whole when we can all get along and help the business grow. Right.
Yeah, you never see doctors talking bad about one another. You never see judges, and it's actually not allowed. Now, when judges run, you ever notice judges can't, sling mud, when they run? I wish it was that way for all politicians, where you can say what you're going to do, but you can't throw mud at the other guy, because it does.
When was the way it should be. Don't tell me what he's doing wrong. Tell me what you're going to do that's better.
Right. And my daughter pointed that out. She was 8 years old. When all those bad commercials come on during election time, she's like, Daddy, how come they don't say what they're going to do instead of how bad the other person is? Oh, that's a good question, honey. Good question.
Yep.
Well, Joe, speaking of kids, and probably kids in the car of some people, and it's maybe just want to keep this G-rated. I told iTunes it would be G-rated with this question in mind. What's the wildest, craziest, or weirdest thing you've ever found on a home inspection?
Well, as I said, I don't do too many anymore, but the guys come in with pictures that just amaze me sometimes. And, it's everything from raccoons in a crawl space to, probably the most common that we find is hidden beer and alcohol. And whether that be from a teenager or an adult, it's very common for them to come back and say, check out these 2 bottles of vodka that was above this drop ceiling when I was inspecting the house. So that's probably the most common, and raccoons in the crawl space or in the chimney is probably the most alarming. We did have an instance where the inspector was doing an inspection and the house started filling with smoke, and it got so bad he had to leave out of the house and call the fire department. And come to find out, just there's a vacant house, somehow or another a squirrel had climbed down the flue for the water heater, and it was burning up inside of the flue. It just happened while he was there, and they had to rip it all apart and take the squirrel out. So it was really a good thing that he was there, but at the time it was pretty hectic and nobody could figure out what was going on.
Oh my gosh, that is pretty crazy. That might be the top one I've heard. That's pretty good. Well, Joe, do you have a training or internet or marketing or app or resource you'd be willing to share with everyone?
Well, Nathan has the forum. I like the forum. There's a couple of Facebook pages that I try to watch and look at and, keep on. But overall, we don't really, we kind of do all of our training and continuing ed in-house. I carry the license to do pre-licensing training for home inspectors and also continuing education, so we can kind of keep it all in-house and bring our own professionals in and talk about plumbing, heating, and cooling, stuff like that. So that's kind of how we handle our stuff.
Well, cool. I want to share one that I found out. We were coming back from the beach. I've known about it for a while, but I've never used it. Waze. Have you ever heard of this? It's like a GPS.
Oh, yeah.
But
yep,
it tells
we use
you
it all the time.
People report if there's. It's kind of like a very smart GPS. And it tells you alternative routes, like, there's a wreck on, whatever, do not go there. It tells you where the police are. It's like GPS with spotters.
Yep, tells you where you're going, what you need to do, and if there's an alternative route. That's a great app. Me and my kids use it and family use it. So another one that's kind of nice, and don't mean this in a negative way, but if you want to relay a message to someone that you're not comfortable texting, but you don't really want to talk to them, you can use the app to go to their voicemail.
Oh,
when you call them, it'll automatically go to their voicemail. I don't use it often, but for those couple of calls you don't really want to make but you have to make, it's a great
Sure. I know what you're talking about. Yep, straight to voicemail. Yep. Well, or there's some clients I have that I love them, but they're, when you talk to them, it's going to be a 30-minute conversation.
Yeah.
And I just need to relay some information. So they're like, hey, it didn't even ring. I don't know how that happened. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, moving right along here. Joe, what's the best part of your job and why? And what's the worst part of your job and why?
Probably the best part of my job is dealing with people, man. I like people. I like to talk to people. I like to get to know people. And I like to make these friends. And so that's probably the best part of my job. The worst part of my job would probably be, I hate to use this because I kind of like it too, it's a double-edged sword, would be dealing with problems, dealing with issues on inspections. And again, we talked about this earlier. I don't like dealing with it, but I always feel better when I do it. When I can make it right for the client and everyone's happy and everyone's, agent's happy, they're going to get another referral, you made it right, buyer's happy. So I hate it because I don't want to do it and I dread it. And the minute I do it and I get it over with, everyone's happy. It makes me feel a lot better.
That's, yeah. And it is a double-edged sword. I don't like dealing with it either. But some of my best realtors have come from, like, solving a problem way back. And they told me, I saw that you stepped up, and that's why I've used you all these years. But now it doesn't work every time. There's some that you're going to pay or do whatever, and they'll never use you again anyway. So
yeah,
it's not a
you're exactly right.
I mean, I fell into that trap by always thinking that, and it does sometimes. You solve the problem, or and sometimes, especially when it's not even, it's not part of the sanity practice or something you couldn't see, but you help anyway. You're thinking, well, they'll give me all their future business, and some do, but some don't. So you're just like, Anyway, so is there anything, Joe, that you're working on right now that has you jacked up or excited about?
Yeah, we're going to try to expand into some new markets, and that gets me excited. Gets me excited to start fresh, meet some new agents and start building new relationships in other areas. So that's got me pretty excited, man. I talked to a guy today about opening a store down in Muncie and got me real excited. I kind of get like a little kid where I start, I'm full bore. I can't stop. I'm calling the Realtors Association. I'm looking at title companies, and I just, I get real excited, and I can't focus on what I probably should be focusing on right that second. But yeah, that's kind of what's got me excited right now.
Squirrel. You and I probably need to talk, because I'm looking at doing the same exact thing, and that is a great lead into the next question. If you had to move to a brand new town equal to the size or the market that you're in now, and you had to start all over, you still have all the knowledge and the inspectors, all the stuff you currently have. Room and board are taken care of, but basically you have $5,000 to start marketing. What are you going to do with that $5,000 in the first week? What are you going to get the most return on?
Well, first thing I'm going to do is go to the Realtors Association, local association, and if there's multiple ones in my area, like if we're in an area that has a couple that service one area, outlying areas, I'm going to join every one of those, and I'm going to do my best to meet every single person in there. And when I do go to join, I'm going to bring them lunch, or I'm going to bring them breakfast, or bring them something so they know who I am. They don't forget my name. And then I'm going to see what events they have coming up, and no matter how trivial the event is, I'm going to go to every one of them. And much like you, I'm not going to wear crazy pants, but I'm going to find a way to stand out in the crowd and make sure people know who I am. And then I'm going to, hit every real estate office. And again, it's going to cost you some money, but I'm going to bring donuts, or I'm going to bring fruit for breakfast, or I'm going to bring something.
Sure.
And it's going to have my name all over it. And part of that, whatever I bring, is going to stay there, whether it be candy bowl or a bucket full of flower seeds or something to that effect. And I'm just going to basically do whatever I can to make myself stand out and make people know who I am. And trust me, or not trust me, but give me a shot to learn who I am and to trust me. Sure.
And I do the candy and all that stuff, and I've had realtors finally say, you've been bringing this stuff all these years, and I felt guilty, and so I gave you a shot, and I'm like, I'll take guilt.
Right.
Yeah.
If
I can guilt you
agents,
and give it a shot, I'll take it.
Sure. And I tell them all the time, I say, you say, well, we got a guy. And I say, I respect that. As a matter of fact, I appreciate that. And that is great. And I hope one day I'm that guy. But that guy someday is not going to be able to get to what you need to get to. Or he's going to be on vacation. And I want to be that backup guy. Let me be the backup guy. And trust me, I'll earn your business to be the normal guy.
Oh, it sounds great. That's exactly kind of like what I do. Well, Joe, we're winding down here, and you've been so gracious and dropped a lot of gold nuggets on the audience here. Is there anything that I should have asked you that I did?
Well, I don't think so. Maybe services that we provide. I know different areas, different markets provide different services, so I could maybe kind of go over services that we offer that maybe some other markets want to kind of capitalize on. So,
go ahead.
So obviously home inspections, we provide home inspections, water testing. A lot of companies, home inspection companies will do that as well. Radon testing. We currently have, about 15 machines that we use for radon testing. Okay. And we do radon mitigation. We actually have a guy that does our mitigation, and he does one a day, and that business stays pretty busy. Mold testing. We do a lot of mold testing, and we also do a lot of mold remediation. So we're out there cleaning up attics, cleaning up crawl spaces, installing tiles and sump pits and pumps and all of that stuff. Then we also do, this is a new thing for us, we're just starting, it's meth testing. Testing a house to see if they've ever had methamphetamine cooked inside of it to make sure that you and your family are safe, as well as obviously pest control service. We're a full-service pest control company also.
Wow. Now, did you take a class for the meth? Is there a certification for that?
There's a certification. Now, you can just order your equipment, and they'll send it to you free, and you pay for it once you send it in. It's a pretty simple test, but in order to be on the health department's website, you would have to contact your health department down at your state capital, and they actually provide classes, most states, for free to get you certified, and so you can be on their website to offer that testing. So once a house in our area is busted, it goes on what's called a hot list, and the house cannot be reoccupied until it's had the proper mitigation and then a test by somebody who's certified through the local health department. So once you take that test and you do that stuff, and then they list you on the website, then you'll get calls to go back out and test and certify those houses as being clean.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, well, not awesome for the house, but, well, it is in the end, but that's awesome that it's free. And I can see that makes sense. You know, they want to get it cleaned back up, and then that's a USP for you. That gives you something, you know, even if you're just a normal person wanting to buy a normal house, the fact that you do that makes you an expert. You know, you're the guy that I want to call because it, you know, makes you the obvious expert. Well, last question here. Joe, is there anything, any question you'd like to ask me?
Well, I know you've been working on some new software, so I just wondered how that was going, and you know, do you have plans to sell software, or is this going to be just a simple in-house for you only?
How do you know that?
I know everything. Well, I don't know everything. I just said I don't know everything. I know a lot.
Yeah. Well, I'll give a little sneak peek. We are doing. We got approached by a major builder to do all their pre-listing inspections. Basically, they wanted to outsource their quality control. And, you know, but the problem was, you know, they interviewed us and two other multi-inspector firms. But the stopping point for them, which almost was for us as well, was they didn't want to use our current software. They wanted something specialty for this, which basically kind of helps them keep track of all their subs. So we worked with them, and Chip, my manager, you know, as per specifications they wanted, and you know, got a guy in India or somewhere, you know, I don't know, Chip's subbing it out somehow. But so we've come up with some special software. So eventually, what we'd like to do is, you know, do some turnkey things for home inspectors where they could go to builders and do the same thing in their market and show them where it would be beneficial. And they would save money by outsourcing their quality control on their subs. Plus, it's something that they can advertise if they have a third party, you know, inspecting their houses, so that, you know, it's just kind of a win-win. And it saves them money, and, you know, having a third party, it's a USP for them as well. So that is something we're working on, and hopefully we'll be offering it out to everybody else soon. I am amazed that you knew that. That's pretty cool.
I follow up on people.
I hear you. Well, Joe, you have been more than gracious with your time, and I really appreciate it. I'm sure the listeners appreciate it. Drop some gold nuggets. Is there, if the listeners out there got some value from you, and of course they did, can they go give you some likes on your Facebook page? And I think that helps you out with search engine optimization. What's your Facebook page?
Sure. It's obviously www.facebook /Fort Wayne Inspector. Okay, cool. Now, is there a way that if somebody wanted to follow up with something you said, or you know, learn more about you or talk to you, is there a way they could get in touch with you? Yeah. Either via the Facebook there, I run that, or on our website at aardvarkinspect.com. Okay, awesome. Well, Joe, I'm going to let you get back to the three kids there, and I appreciate your time, and you've been more than gracious, and thank you so much for all that you all the gold nuggets you gave tonight. All right, thank you. All right, Joe, have a good one.
Thanks for checking out the Successful Home Inspector podcast. You can find show links at thesuccessfulhomeinspector.com. Check out the website for special offers, information, and other resources. Thanks again for listening to the Successful Home Inspector podcast. And remember to check back for new episodes. The Successful Home Inspector podcast is brought to you by Preston Sandlin and Home Inspection Carolina.